Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Fire Emblem 7 Buy Our Units co-op playthrough. Today there's no gameplay, we're just going over our units and reminiscing before we take on the final chapter. Before we start, I would like to thank the people who back the channel on Patreon. It helps me out a lot, so thank you very much for that support. Let's get into it.
Perhaps the last chapter of Fire Emblem Buy Our Unit 7. Oh god, no, Nomadic Trooper, there we go. But yeah, Fire Emblem
Buy Our 7.
Buy Our 7, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, Fire Emblem 7 Buy Our Units playthrough. It's been amazing, but all good, yeah, all good things must come to an end. Light Magic, LOL, FE7 story.
Hey look, it's Dragon Gate.
Remember that chapter? Remember when Urk was good?
Remember trying to recruit Lagar?
Yeah. So, we're forced to use 2 units that we can't use, so...
Yep.
That's already...
And for people who don't know, we can't change our positioning, right? Units are deployed based on their deployment order in a great bit of game design.
Okay, so... we have to part ways with a couple of our units here, unfortunately.
We get to bring 10 of our own. One of them has to be Elliewood.
And Nils. And, do we take Urk?
I think we bring Urk over Lowen.
Well, let's do the roll call first. Okay. So this is not the inventory, by the way, but so Hector is this is a good Hector, I would say.
It is.
Probably one of the best Hectors I've gotten like in a run. 19 strikes okay. 18 skills pretty good for Hector. There was a meme for a while ago about like just the skill, not having skill. I
think there was a couple of really iconic moments of Hector missing. Chapter 13 springs to mind when we were trying to kill those bandits near the Merlinus village. Yeah. And he took about 80 turns to do so.
Yeah. Amazing defense. Like, man, this is such a tanky Hector. He took dings for pretty much the majority of the run. I don't remember the last time he was ever in danger from like a physical threat. He's gotten nuked a couple times with magic, but in terms of like physical enemies, it's been fairly insignificant. So yeah. Awesome. Lynn's been great as well. Like, look, 19,
absolutely stellar. Yeah,
like 19 strength, just fast as hell. Like, not great defense, but like good resistance. Honestly, I don't even remember like investing into her resistance. So
yeah.
Lynn's was
like, she might not have the best defense, but she's got a kind of cracked out HP stat thanks to the Lynn mode angelic row that we gave her. Obviously her strength buffered by that energy ring as well, but
it was such a good investment.
She's made such good use of it. Like, she's just been such a good kill bot throughout the game that you really can't complain. Very reliable as well, like good skill. She actually hits things, that's really nice. Yeah. And yeah.
No,
honestly very impressed. Like, I was not expecting too much from Lynn. I thought it was going to be a bit of a trudge to level her up, but she was the best unit to come out of Lynn mode.
Yeah.
Which, considering we have Kent and Urk, really surprises me, but she is. She's the best unit to have came out of Lynn mode.
Yeah, no, Lynn's been... yeah, I can see why people think Lynn is good. And I still think that there, at least personally, I think there might be... she might have some perks over Elliewood, but we'll get to that. But yeah, no, great. I can't complain about Lynn. No. Well, you get what you pay for it, and you know, free unit, just 9.
I mean, I think in reality he got really badly speed screwed from a lot of the early levels that we gave him. We invested, obviously we had to invest into him because we needed to get Geats, but he made pretty poor use of that experience, which we wouldn't have given him otherwise. He had a chance, I think, to really kind of try and step up here, but he just didn't. But
yeah, you know, we could have promoted him earlier, but I just didn't see the point. Lynn was just so much better, and this guy, yeah, unfortunate, but
in his defense, he had a pretty solid early game. He was a pretty okay defensive unit for that point in time.
Yeah.
He could eat a couple of hits. He was relatively dodgy against a lot of the bandits. His early game like wasn't. We didn't really have to baby him through that stage of the game too much. Like he wasn't our best unit, but he had contributions that I think were pretty reasonable.
He was okay.
He
was okay.
Like, he plugged the hole on chapter 15, like the left-hand wall. He did a decent job on the Merlinus paralog of plugging the right-hand bridge, but past that, like he didn't keep up. I think would be the best way to put it. Our other units really started to take off, and compared to
his best stuff was an early game, and like ever since then he just fell off like a rock. Speaking of, oh no, not speaking of which, very
definitely didn't fall off.
We're gonna rank our like units later on. I think we've already spoiled that, but I think it's not gonna be any spoil that. I'm pretty sure Heath is gonna be #1. Like there's no debate. 3 capped stats on Heath is just stupid. He was fairly low on defense as well, and then he just caught up. Like I think within the last couple chapters, it's so dumb. It was like a Path of Radiance bonus.
Well, he did get a Draco Shield as well in that time, but like, even like when his defense was behind, it wasn't low. Like he was at like 12 or 13.
Well, even like disregarding his like defense, like his HP was just sky high.
So ridiculous.
It didn't matter. Like
his worst stat is 11 resistance, which is like
good.
Not
still
terrible. That's serviceable. But he's had capped strength for ages. He capped strength before promotion, and then he capped it again after promotion. 23 speed is really stellar. 25 skill, again, both capped. Really solid.
If I want to do a hot take, I think this guy should be bumped up in just regular tier list.
I'm not too familiar with FE7 tiering, but like he's easily one of the best units in the game as far as like.
I like him more than the Cavs. I like him more than the Cavs now, honestly.
I like him more than the Cavs if you're not doing Limb mode. I like probably. It's hard to say between him and the Cavs if you're doing Limb mode, although this runs a pretty big argument against that. But
well, even like, most of them don't regard it Limb mode. In that case, I think just like Lowen's the best Cav, and Lowen often isn't offensive, whereas this guy is, and just for the part of the game where you want him to be offensive, he's just stellar. Like no complaints.
He's also like. We took our time with Heath, I think. Because we needed that 700 XP from the Desert chapter.
Yes.
And then we invested into him over the course of Genesis and Craze Beast.
Yeah.
But you could have just promoted him a lot earlier. You'd have lost out on some stats by now, but we'd have got some like much better actual unit at that time. Like he could have been much better on Genesis, which was probably his weakest map because we were still training him up.
I mean, like you usually don't deploy Heath on Genesis because it's a terrible map for him. But like even then,
the big issue with Genesis was we didn't have Hawkeye.
Yeah, I know. But even then, like for him having to deploy it, well, I guess he did kind of do bad on Genesis. Not gonna lie, but I think the four deaths on it were from Genesis, but still.
Well, he had that purge crit, which was really unfortunate. He had us failing to count, which was really that's just our fault. That's not bad luck. That's just us being bad. But like even on Genesis, like. There were things that he struggled with on that map, and that's fair. But he also had a lot of really good contributions. Like, he killed a bunch of shamans over the wall and stuff like that. Like, he had some really solid contributions throughout that map too. And he used the map to farm, but he contributed well on it too. Like, and then after that point, he's just been ridiculous. He's been by far our best unit. Pretty much solo carried a good chunk of levels.
We could probably just done the last chapter as a Heat solo.
Like, there's a couple of really big standouts, but I think the one for me is Battle Before Dawn.
Yeah, no, I was about to
He just literally soloed the entire left-hand side of that map with no pressure. Like, he struggled less than the rest of our squad that were grouped up. Like, he was, incredibly consistent, effortless, a really good unit all around.
We only really gave him, like, the Draco Shield, obviously, and then the Seraph Robe, like Isidora's Seraph Robe, which is big, like, but like we didn't. Okay, I guess we gave him the Gauze icon and maybe a skill book, but still, like normally you just throw those away. So
that is true.
No, awesome. Like, definitely think a lot higher of Heath. And even back then, I didn't even think that low of him. I think he was pretty good. But yeah,
awesome. I think as well for 8 points. Incredibly good value for a very high cost unit. Like, I didn't think we would get this good a value out of a unit that cost that much, but even as someone who rated has rated Heath extremely highly, he's had a good run here. Like,
yeah, Geats. I liked him.
It's like a truck.
Yeah, hits like a truck. He's not even cap strength yet, but
Nope.
And he won't. But no, I can't be disappointed with the Geats recruitment. He's done the things that he needed to do. Even though like Heath was soloing things, I don't think we would have gone as far without a unit like Geats, because you just need more hands on deck. I think a huge theme of this run is like cleanup, honestly.
Yes.
Like how do we like clear a path, or how do we get these units off the screen? And this guy is the cleaner. Like, I think that's probably Lagoat's title, but this guy's a cleaner for sure.
I mean, he has his downsides when we compare him to like the likes of Heath, right? Lower move, no flight, things like that. But in terms of combat, like, okay, he's a little bit slower, but other than that, he's performed excellently. Right from the get-go as well. Like, literally, we recruited him, and he started killing a bunch of pirates and wyverns on that map.
And he like, that's not like even a good Geats performance. I think he underperformed there, and that's but still, just like him on a bad day is still good.
Yeah, and the amount of times we've just been able to like throw him into a horde or like put him over a wall, hitting a bunch of people. Really good brave weapon usage. Longbow's been really useful on him. His natural strength makes up for the low might, and yeah.
No, I think like Longbows. I want to like re-examine Longbow with like. I know Geats is way too expensive to recruit in a normal run, but like Longbow just utility is so underrated, honestly. So like yeah, not much more to say about that. Just great.
Yeah, for 3 points as well. Just before we move off of Geats, 3 points for this unit. I know we had to get all but Lynn and Hector got their EXP basically effortlessly. Elliewood was the only one who required a little bit of help. But 3 points for this unit. Also, just look at that record at the bottom.
Oh, that record's crazy.
29 fights he competed in that he didn't kill someone.
I haven't even looked at the other record. Yeah, that record has to be the best ratio. It has to be the best ratio.
It has to be. That's insane.
Okay, moving on. Another star, personal favorite of mine. She's been good. She's been good in the things I was expecting her to be good in. Like, I knew she was going to be helpful on COG. I knew she was going to be helpful on Victory or Death. That aside, this is probably rolling above average for Farina.
I don't know if it's rolling as much as injected with every steroid we got since we recruited her. But honestly, she made excellent use of them. Like, at that point, we needed a unit who could sort of be as mobile as Heath, but still help him out. And Farina provided that really well. Again, 5-point unit, like, not one of these big expensive buys. Pretty reasonable, actually, mostly due to joining time and the fact she cost 20k, which was fairly absurd. But she performed excellently, to be honest. And I think the most important thing, she came in when we really needed a mage killer.
Oh yeah, no,
she covered for Heath's weakness, I think. Like, that res is Heath's lowest stat. She came in and just dealt with everything.
No, we have no res. Like, yeah, okay, we have res, but we don't have any mage killers. And I know that's a meme in the community, but look, we weren't able to do. Again, COG was a problem. Victory or Death was going to be a problem, and she performed flawlessly, really. On well, she got slapped, but that
yeah, but she stood there for 5 turns, tanking enemies while asleep, and did it really well. Like, even on that turn she got slapped on COG, she killed like 4 lunar mages, and like actually did a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she's had a lot put into her, I will say, including taking the boots and 2 body rings, which is a huge amount of investment. But she's used it very well, and you can't really complain because we needed basically a Heath that could kill mages for maps like COG, maps like Night of Farewells, maps like Victory or Death, and she did it. She fulfilled the role we needed.
If we were able to keep the take of the of the Battle Before Dawn where Hector got nuked, I would be even more pressed because that was a really good play by her as well.
It was.
When we had to do like this weird, slider maneuver with her once again. So like, yeah, Farina, I don't know. Maybe I should not be surprised. I always use her, and she's always been highly invested and kind of a meme. But yeah. If we have to spend more time on her, we probably won't be able to leave this screen. So let's get going. Yo.
Genuinely a very important unit throughout the early game. We would have really struggled early on if we didn't have an extra body there. There's a 1-point unit. She did what she needed to do. She did some solid damage to like Chapter 12 pegs and things like that. She provided some chip from range for units like Lowen and Elliewood to pick up kills, even Hector at times. She was actually really solid. We kind of kept using her as a bit of a joke. I think we both expected to sort of drop her about.
I was wanting to commit to her, but
yeah, yeah. I think like we were both just sort of like I've never seen her sniper sprite before. I've never used her through this point in the game. She's obviously not the best unit in the world, but she's had her moments of really contributing, and unironically, ballista usage has helped us at times. Like effective damage on wyverns has helped us. Longbow usage has helped us.
Longbow, okay. Like honestly, I think is sort of underrated, and Rebecca, not being the best user of longbow, still was able to do things that we required, and for that, like, you can't complain.
Exactly, yeah. And again, just like really reliable, accurate chip damage throughout the early game. It never really took that much either.
I don't think we did any like serious like investment. Maybe during like the Port of Badon pirate ship arc where we gave her a couple of like the kill hero there that we could have gave to anyone, and we gave it to Rebecca because lol, it's Rebecca. The only like serious thing we might have done is take her into the 2-man chapter with Hector's promotion. That was funny. Like, I don't think like it was either like do that or do it with Heath,
but that's also like far past the point where she was continuing to contribute later into the game. Like, so I'm actually, I wouldn't use her on every playthrough. She's not a stat. She's not Heath. She's not Farina. She's not Geets. But she's been okay.
She's 1 point. She was 1 point. I think.
Yeah.
Like, for what she's done, like, I think that she's kind of, filled her, done more than her pay grade. So.
Yes. She's been low investment both in terms of the draft and in the game, and she's done perfectly. She's performed above the investment for her.
Yep. This guy was crazy.
Yeah, this guy had no right to be as good as he was. I think we both sort of picked him as like an early game body, relatively cheap at 3 points. And I think we both had one map in mind when we picked him, which is the Merlinus pack.
Yeah.
We needed a body for that map to kill bandits.
He even got screwed over on that because of the Lin mode deployments.
Well, there's two reasons he got screwed over on that, right? There's Lin mode deployments, and then there was Matthew breaking his iron sword, so he had to run over and trade an iron sword away. Yeah, all the rigmarole that came over with that, but he genuinely has been incredibly good. I don't think we realized he was good until we promoted him on the Isadora, Wrath, Heath chapter.
I always assume, like, when I started to play through, I think I was trying to say that he was really bad. Because there's still things I don't like about him. I don't like his con, especially.
Yes,
the con...
I don't like that he's one range.
Was run range. That's stuff I knew that was going to be a problem. I wasn't expecting how bad his con would be. I still kind of think that's annoying, especially like in terms of like a speed playthrough or something, just efficiency. Like he can't like carry Rebecca, which is annoying. But aside from that, just being a combat unit during a time where we had no combat units really. Like our best combat unit was Matthew. Like. He was good, especially on Genesis. Like, I was debating whether or not I should use him on Genesis. And the answer is he has to. You just need combat. You need speed. You need, like, some strength. And you need, like, accuracy. And he did it.
He's really reliably killed enemies. And, yeah, he doesn't have the most move. He's not the bulkiest of units. But he kills enemies. And we needed that. Like... there have been several points where we just needed something that kills people, and Guy was able to be that.
Once again, like cleanup was huge. Like especially like I remember COG where we had to use several of our units to get rid of Valks, like Lynn, Geets, Farina. I think Keith may have been doing something like somewhere else, and just Guy was there, and he had the stats. He had the Brave Sword capability. Just cleans it up.
I think he had like a lot of minor contributions. Like he cleaned up the pirates on Dread Isle in the top left, right, and things like that. But I think like if we were gonna say like, oh, we didn't invest that much into Rebecca, we gave nothing to Guy.
No.
He earned everything he has on his own merit, because I don't think either of us were particularly excited about using Guy the same way we were. Like, we wanted to use Rebecca, we wanted to use Dart.
Yeah.
We kind of just picked Guy for an early game body, and he just clawed his way to being really good.
Yeah.
Like, he literally just fought his way to being a good combat unit, and he did really well at it. Like, I've got no complaints about Guy. 3 points was incredibly good for what we got from him.
Yeah, I can see myself not putting him below Dorcas and Bartray now. I'm happy to be wrong. Okay. Yo, this one, I think this one was funny. I think this one was a very like obvious pick.
Yes.
And I dare say she was really good. Not even just in terms of just being a stat, but like just being like an early game decoy.
Well, I think that's the thing that like I never saw coming with her. Like, we wanted a staff unit. We realized Priscilla was going to be unattainable. Kent was too late. So we went with Sarah, mainly for staff usage. I didn't realize how fast she was. She's not bulky, but she can eat more hits than some other units because she just doesn't get doubled, like, ever. Like, at any point in the game, she's just not getting doubled. She can stand in bushes and draw ballista fire because she's such a tempting target, and they just miss. Like, we've had her plug holes, we've had her tank random stuff while we heal up other units. Like, that was the aspect of her I wasn't expecting, and especially around like the desert chapter where she was running around like nuking enemies with shine. Yeah, she kind of popped off around that time. Like, she obviously fell back into staff duty, but that's less of a fault of hers and more of a fact that we really needed staves. Like,
yeah,
we became kind of desperate for men's physics, recovers, restores, berserks, sleeps, all this other stuff. But yeah, honestly, really solid.
It might just be like being like still 3 houses brain and trying to like do random scenes with healers, like just tanking with healers. But no, I think this is honestly, she's still kind of underrated. Obviously she gets overshadowed immensely by Priscilla, but
yes,
for like those early chapters where you don't have her, especially like chapter 12, like it was so entertaining to see her dodge tank, etc. I can't complain.
She really performed. She performed in the ways I expected, but then she performed in ways I didn't too. And that was actually quite impressive.
Okay. I think we're starting to go into the dubious territory, but look, you cannot complain that Lowen really, because he did his job. He helped in the early game. He has still like a decently respectable defense stat. It's not enough for now, but like throughout the most of the game it was respectable. Just he sits there, he eats hits, and he can move units around. That's really all I requested of him, and he was a body in early game.
He was a really solid body in early game. Like, rescue dropping was important, especially when he could still rescue drop Hector. That was nice. I miss those days. But he's had some really solid defensive contributions, I would say, throughout the game, honestly. Like, even as far as the Geets chapter, he had some really solid tanking portions across that map. Like, it's not like he fell off like chapter like 15 or something ridiculous. Like, he honestly held his own for a solid while. He doesn't kill things.
Yeah.
You kind of knew that coming in, I think. Like, he's not an offensive cav, but he's been okay. He's plugged holes when we need him to. Was he worth 8 points or whatever we spent on him? Probably not. But for an early game body to maintain some relevance, he was okay. I also don't think this was a particularly great Lowen.
No, it's kind of this is kind of underwhelming for even Lowen, really. But
yeah, like I would have liked a little bit better. I think there was also possibly the argument that, like, in the early game, we gave a lot of kills to, like, Eliwood and potentially even Rebecca that would normally have gone to him. Because we needed to level up Eliwood for Geats, and Rebecca we were just enjoying using.
Lowen promoted by, chapter, 17, I think?
He did, but I think he was a bit behind on levels for that time.
I guess, yeah.
I think he promoted at, like, level 11 or something. I think he'd normally be around, like, 15 or 16 around that point.
Oh, I don't play that, so, but, sure.
But, yeah, I think, like, he did get starved of a little bit of EXP.
Yeah.
But, like, I think he would normally have claimed more than he does, but even then, I think he filled, like, a decent role.
I think
he wasn't even
like,
unit.
Even, like, for an below-average Lowen, he still did what I needed him to do, and for that,
yes.
like, I can't really fault him.
Yeah, he had high move, he could rescue drop people, he had 1-2 range, he could chip away at things, he could tank hits, he could plug gaps. He was fine.
Yep. Urk, I'm gonna be honest, I'm underwhelmed with Urk. If I had to be kind of honest.
I was really impressed with him early on. I think it's around when he promoted that he started to fall off. That being said, look at that ratio.
That ratio's not that good.
It's pretty good.
It's good in the context that, like, yeah, it's a good ratio for like battle wins, but it's not. I'm not impressed by it because I know that at one point I saw that, like, I saw him and know that he was not going to be a combat unit, and that's why he's like it looks so good because he didn't see any battles.
Yeah, I agree. A unit who is around since Lin mode and then chapter 14 should have more than 119 battles, but he also did have to fall into stave bot duties, like we needed more staves.
True.
So he did kind of have to fill that role either way. He stopped getting EXP because we needed him to click staffs rather than click spells. And I don't think it's a huge coincidence that the time he started to fall off was around the time of his promotion. He stopped being a combat unit, and then he was no longer capable of being a combat unit, which is a bit of a shame, considering how much we gave him in Lim mode. I think he came out about, like, level 8 or something.
Yeah.
I'd have expected him to hold his own for a little bit longer than he probably did, but I think he was still picking up kills around the Geats chapter.
Yeah, he was.
If I recall rightly.
Like, he was. Like, I'm being a little harsh on him because I was expecting, like, at least a slightly nerfed Pent, but, like, this feels like more of a super nerfed Saleh more than anything.
Yeah, yeah, he didn't keep up. Around when we promoted him, I think we sort of just stopped killing with him to the same extent that we were, hence why he's got 119 battles over, like, one of our highest contribution units in terms of chapters, if nothing else.
Yeah.
He must have been on most, because he even came along on maps like Genesis, where we had a very limited deployment. Yeah, he didn't see that much combat as the game progressed, and I think that was disappointing. That being said, his early contributions were stellar. He was great.
And again, like, look, I am being really harsh, but you have to consider having a second restore staff on screen is vital, and for that, like, yeah, sure, it takes him a bit of effort to do that. I think Lucius in that context is a lot better, but obviously we didn't pick Lucius. There's problems with picking Lucius, so yeah, I mean, sure, he did work.
I will say 7 points for what he contributed, probably.
That is maybe too expensive.
A bit too expensive, I agree. But yeah, he did have some really solid contributions. He was a staff user when we needed him, and, like, we wouldn't have got through the late game with one staff user.
Yeah.
Like, there is no shot. A silence hits Sarah and we're dead. Like, or a sleep or a berserk or anything. Like, we needed a second staff user. He fell into that role.
Yep. That's about it for Urk. Oh,
God.
Oh boy.
Where do we even start with Kent?
We're talking about how good this, like, ratio is. Look at that ratio.
I mean,
what the hell happened?
There is no way a unit that saw so much combat in Lin mode. I don't know if Lin mode stats carry over. I think they do, but like, either way, he was started off as a paladin on chapter 16. He should have been a standout combat unit. He hasn't gained a point of strength since Lin mode. He's gained 1 point of speed. When he promoted to paladin, he had 10 strength and 13 speed. I know he's only gained like 4 levels in that time. He should have been claiming more than that. We should have just been... What we've been doing with Heath throughout the late game, we should have been able to do with Kent early. We should have just been able to click him, put him in the middle of a pile of enemies, and they fall over. He's squishy, not particularly quick, and he doesn't do much damage. Yeah. Very disappointing, especially for a 9-point
This
unit.
is our most expensive unit, I think.
Yes.
And...
Yes, it is.
This is after I suggested that we demote him to 9 points because I felt like the strength growth differential between him and Sane, and then like even like Florina's like contributions are just weren't as interesting for him, and like even like that by that sense, I was not expecting this guy to be such a dumpster fire. Like from the moment he left Lin mode and we saw him in chapter 16, he's been nothing but a disappointment.
I would actually go further than that. I think from the moment we put him in Paladin, I think even in Chapter 9 in Lin mode, we put him in Paladin. We went to go kill a Cavalier, and he didn't kill. And I think that was the moment where it all started going south. Because, like, if you're Paladin, if you're early game, essentially, for all intents and purposes, a pre-promote Paladin can't secure kills on their own merit, they're not going to keep up. Like, there's no way.
This guy makes Vander look like Seth.
Like, I'm not feeding kills to a unit who gets 4 XP from a kill. So he's not going to keep up if he can't secure kills on his own merit, and he couldn't. Lowen and Cavalier was outperforming him, then Lowen promoted to a Paladin and carried on outperforming him. Like, it's... Like, he still had Paladin contributions in terms of high move, rescue dropping, things like that, but that's all he really was past a certain point in the game.
I think this guy's highest claim to fame was that we deployed him over Urk on the successful battle before dawn.
And even that was just because he had more move.
And I argue like he barely contributed. Like he opened the door for Heath and then I think picked up Zephyr.
Yeah, he could regroup with our team faster. That's the only reason, at least for me, that I picked him on that chapter. Like he,
well, like mind you, like that does make it matter, but
it
like
does,
still,
it does. It's an important factor.
Like, God.
I think like the biggest damning statement we can make against Kent is we ended up being impressed when he contributed.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be the case with a Paladin leaving Lin mode.
No.
Yeah, all around, probably by far the most disappointing unit, not only for his cost, but just in terms of his general performance. If we'd have got him for 6 points, I would still be disappointed. Like,
it's so funny. I think this is kind of a thing that we don't see in modern FE. Like, I know this is like a weird challenge when we're doing with an older FE, but like it's so weird seeing like units that are just this bad now with this amount of investment, and like there's not much we can do to save him. Like in a game, like I feel like Engaged is almost bringing that back with some of the early game like units not having good growths, but like even that game you can reclass. Like I cannot find that much solutions for helping Kent right now, and it's just really sad to see.
Look, the thing is, like, we got to a point where like I say, he wasn't sustaining himself, and what are we going to do if we're given the opportunity? Give a kill to Kent, or give a kill to Heath, or give a kill to, you know, Foreigner, or give a kill to Geats? Like, they just do more with it. Or even like when him and Lowen were competing for kills, Lowen needed that XP more, and he got more XP from it. Like, Kent should have been self-sufficient. You can argue maybe we should have gave him the Lin mode energy ring.
I don't think that's like, we're talking about like giving him to him. He's not getting strength. He would be at 12 strength. It's just not enough.
The thing is, if he'd have had that more strength, he might have been able to secure more kills for himself. He might have leveled more. He might have sustained himself a bit longer. But ultimately, like, yeah, it's not even like he had a bad start either. I think at the start of Lin mode, we were both quite impressed.
Yeah, because he outperformed my Sane on Chapter 4.
Yeah, like yes, the defense chapter. Yeah, he did better than the Sane in your was it your Sophia run or something you were doing?
It was like my incomplete Iron Man, but
that was it. Yeah, And yeah, he genuinely performed quite well in Lin mode, as weird as that sounds, but he did. Like, he was contributing very well. He was picking up a good amount of stuff on his own, and as soon as we promoted him, he just stopped. And I'm not gonna feed a unit who gets 3 XP per kill.
Yeah. Okay, that was depressing. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, go next.
Ah!
We tried so hard and got so far. But in the end, he never gained any speed.
Okay, so as bad as we were saying, talking about with Kent, at least he had contributions that mattered. This guy, if Heath is the best unit that we drafted, I think like it's not gonna be it might be a spoiler, but I don't really care. I think this guy is the worst.
Yes.
He made no contributions that actually mattered.
Not quite true. He had one glaringly big contribution that was actually very important. He was an unpromoted unit on the desert chapter, so he got us enough AXP to get to Genesis.
That is true. I guess. But that's like such a silly technicality. That yeah, that does matter, but in the grand context of like the run, he's made no meaningful contributions. He was really disappointing in terms of growth. So I was expecting this guy, like, I know his defensive stats were going to be bad, but I was expecting like, oh, I want, you know, Hawkeye but with speed, and I did not get that. Like, we got okay strength, but like no speed. He's, I think, our slowest unit besides maybe Lowen.
I think he's about 4 or 5 points of speed down below his average. 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that ballpark. So yeah, he's a lot slower than he should be. Yeah,
like, and I've seen like people in the comments saying like, yeah, they were hoping that this guy was be good because not a lot of people use Dart because of like the Ocean Seal meme and like the ranked run like bias. But this is not a good showcase of Dart. I'm gonna be honest. Like, when I drafted him, I thought he was gonna be a steal. Like, oh,
I think we were both. I didn't expect him to be good, but I was looking forward to using him.
I was like, oh, you know, I want like a melee nuke. Glass Canyon for sure, but like a melee nuke, he just kills things if I want it. My point saying he'll kill it, or whatever. Yeah. And he's not that at all.
Like, he didn't even have like utility contributions, like particularly. He can rescue, but he can't Panto, which is bad. He only has 6 move, which isn't great. He really struggled to get EXP. Like, we really had to try. I think you convinced me to like give him another chapter before we promoted him on the Geeks chapter.
Yeah.
We kept him in, but I really wanted to promote him before that chapter. You said we give him another chapter, and I think you made the right call. He let you down there, though.
No, he let me down.
Got the levels, he didn't gain the speed. And that was the really big thing that killed him, because once you stop being able to double, you stop being able to kill. And if you can't kill, you can't gain the XP.
Speed is vitally important in
yes.
In this. I think a lot of people say this game, like, enemies are slow, blah blah blah, but like it is. There's a threshold that you need to reach in order to be a good unit in Fire Emblem 7. And if you're not hitting that threshold, you're done. That's why people say Bartre is bad. Or like, or Dorcas is slightly bad. It's because they don't double. It's why Oswin is not as, like, the best unit in the game, because he can't double reliably. And this guy not gain speed is just... Ugh. Like, if you're not mounted and you don't have speed, you're done. Like, yeah. And that's like, not the end-all be-all, honestly. Like, you could be a staff user, but like, if you're not mounted and you're a physical class, you're done. Yeah,
like, I think like the really big difference between Dart and Kent for me is we never tried with Kent. Like, he got a lot through Lin mode, but he sort of claimed it himself. I never feel like we had to put effort into Kent. We did sort of just give up on him rather than actually give him that effort. But we really tried with Dart. Like, we really tried, and he just didn't perform. And it's so disappointing.
Yeah. I thought this guy was going to be the Dragon Killer.
Yeah, I think like even from the first chapter where we recruited him, where like you tried to put him up against the Pegasus Knights, right? And he just fell over and died. And then it was sort of like, oh, maybe we threw him in a bit over his head. Lol. And he just never recovered. I think, like, to be fair, he contributed well on the Geats chapter. When him and Geats sat in forests and killed a bunch of pirates and wyverns. Like, he did actually do well on that chapter. He was important on that chapter. He played a good role on it.
I mean, I guess also to be fair, like, we did bench him at a time where I thought it was unopportune. Like, we didn't deploy him for New Resolve, which we may have been able to do, but like still, like that again, that map has speed thresholds and he's not fast.
The other problem with New Resolve is we had to play fast on that map.
Yeah.
Like we didn't. I actually think we might have taken him in. I can't remember, but
we didn't.
Like, did we not?
No.
I thought we did.
No.
But we have to play that map fast to get Heath and get chests and things like that. Like,
that's not New Resolve. That's Kinship Spawn. New Resolve is the
oh, that's why I was thinking we deployed them on New Resolve, because I'm thinking of the wrong map. New Resolve is the Sad Hollywood chapter, isn't it?
Yeah. And I don't know. Like, I have no words. Just look at those stats, and
he was just. We really tried with Dot, and he just didn't do it. Like, I know he grew badly. Like, I know he grew below average, but we put a lot of effort into this unit.
That being said, he had more kills than Kent. But again, that's because we put a lot of effort in trying to give him more kills, and we got a unit that's just poo-poo. Belongs on the poop deck.
I don't think Kent ever got fed. Like, sure, he got lit mode, but he never got fed. Whereas Dart got literally, like, the spoon put into his mouth. Like, if he can't perform with that, I'm really disappointed.
Again, depressing. Let's move on. is that
actually a very good unit? I'm not gonna lie. I'm very impressed with Matthew throughout this run.
I honestly think like he was deployed out of necessity, like drafted out of necessity, because just having the thief utility early on is important. You don't want to Hector solo. Chapter
I was gonna say there were two reasons we were always recruiting Matthew, and that's lockpicks and Hector.
But there was a time where he was our best unit, and that was it said a lot about our team. But like, hey, he's our best unit. What is that that ratio though? It does not look.
Well, a lot of the time he was just dodge tanking in bushes, or like Merlinus paralogging, where he broke his sword attacking enemies.
Yeah, or he was doing setup. He was doing setup.
Yeah, he was doing some setup, like, because I think we both knew, even when Matthew was like actually best combat unit might be a bit of a meme, but he was genuinely very good. Around like chapter 14, I think is like 13, 14, Merlinus paralog, like around that point in time, he was really kicking off. But I think we knew he wasn't a long-term combat unit, and we also knew that even if he was going to be level 20 stat capped for like 12 chapters or something, like, because you get the fell contract so late. But honestly, I don't think he was ever a problem. Like, even on Genesis, he was dodging purges and like baiting in hits and actually doing okay. Like, he was setting up bishops to be killed by Heath or Lynn or Guy.
No, like,
I think similarly to Sarah, he did what I expected of him, but what I didn't expect of him is what's really impressed me. Like, he was a good combat unit. Yeah. Genuinely.
No, this is my second time using like Matthew in a combat role, and my first time doing it on Hector mode, and I can't really say I'm disappointed. I think he's like a kind of a fun unit to use, honestly. Obviously, the strength's gonna be an issue moving going further, but like for like the early game, and mind you, like he has Lin mode in him, but like for the early game, he was fun. Like I think this was a really fun unit to use.
Armor Slayer Matthew really came in clutch, and you've got to think that like without Matthew, obviously the futility is expected, but without Matthew, a lot of units get a lot worse. Yeah. You know, we don't get the Guiding Ring for Urk, we don't get the Seraph Robe for Lyn, we don't get the Silver card, which is absolutely huge. Like, we don't get that Vulnerary on the Merlinus paralog, which nearly got us killed and lost us the map on the final turn. But Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I miss Steve utility. I'm glad to see like, you know, Yunaka and Zolkov be good and engage. But like that game lied about Thieves being back because like I miss just like Thieves being, you know, doing thief stuff.
Yeah,
and like as much as I love the like the, you know, combat memes, like I like when there's actual thievery to be done, and Matthew does that as expected. So
and also really solid dodge tank.
Hey, the actual MVP.
Genuinely, if we're talking about dodge tanks, I mean, it has to start here, right? Like, jokes aside, Genesis without Merlinus would have been...
There's a reason why I haven't, like, been able to get the, recreate the Genesis clears, because it requires so much Merlinus RNG. It's so hard to get the farm the correct run. But even outside of Genesis, you know, Unfulfilled Heart, just chapter 17, chapter 16, chapter like 14.
Yeah, there were a lot
chapter
of
15, like in the early game. Like obviously it's Merlinus, but like we need this decoy, and he does the job.
Not to mention, the man himself. Look at those stats. He has 1 win. He secured himself a kill.
Oh yes, I forgot he did. Yeah, he got a kill. That's more than like Matthew and Kent have gotten in the late game.
But you look at like those 17 losses, and that's actually so important. Like, there's 17 times where he was stalling out enemies. Like, even if you look at something like the general on Palefire of Darkness, right, the boss that we couldn't kill because we wanted Tarkham for the Brave Sword.
Yeah.
Like, the general targeting Merlinus, that was huge. Merlinus being able to dodge those hits was huge. Like, he genuinely has been important.
Yeah, I never underestimate Merlinus. He can come in quite clutch. Yeah, he can. Yeah. If only he could move.
If only he could move. I mean, I think that's more on us.
Yeah.
I think we definitely could have gotten him promoted, but that wraps up everyone, I think. Very, very happy with this team.
No, I
even with its
this team was fun. This team was like, I'm glad that we were able to get like an actual interesting run.
Yeah,
with this team.
I'm actually like quite surprised that like we had a fair spread of units who really impressed, units who really disappointed, and units who kind of met expectations. And it's quite nice. I wasn't really expecting that. I was sort of expecting, well, obviously, I was expecting units to perform as I expected them to perform. It's quite nice that that wasn't the case.
Well, it's also good that like we were using units that again, I don't think like, when was the last time you've seen Geats used seriously, or
I've never used Geats. I've never used Rebecca either.
Or Gee.
Like, yeah, Gee's always just been an early game body for me. But yeah, we've mentioned it a couple of times now, but we will be sort of ranking the units once the run has finished.
And there will be blood. There will be blood.
We will be tiering them in some sort of order that I'm sure we will disagree on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a really fun team. Now, they've got one last ride ahead of them before they can rest. Let's take on the final chapter.
Sure. Let's do the preps.
Actually, let's do some inventory stuff first.
I'm just gonna keep the Iron Rune on him.
Yep.
What do I take? What do I take?
I think we swap out the Axe Reaver for one that's better.
Kind of don't
if
have
we
any.
even want an Axe Reaver. We could go Brave Lance, Javelin, Killer Lance.
I'm not even sure if that's good. I guess
or Brave Lance, Javelin, Silver Lance.
I kind of like Silver Lance because it just, I don't want to rely on.
Yeah.
That. Do you think we need to use 2 Javs?
I think we'll probably attack 20 times with jabs, at least.
Okay, Farina. Not really much.
She needs a Delphi shield back here.
I'll take it. I don't. It really only matters for Uhai, and even then, I don't know. I don't even know if she survives Uhai.
I think she should.
Uhai's gonna be.
You want to give her a horse sled?
It's not enough for Uhai, and then she gets
14 might. Is that just less than a silver lance?
It's just. I'm sure it's less.
It's the same.
It's the same. It's not. I'll just take it because YOLO. I'm not gonna take multiple lands.
No, just refresh hers, yeah.
Okay, we need yeah, I'm keeping Brave Ball on him. I might just take the Tomahawk.
Yeah, I'm not opposed.
I'm actually going to take Sword Slayer.
You can take a Sword Reaver. Or Sword Slayer, yeah.
Yeah, I do think we need Sword Slayer. Other than that, I don't really see too much things that... I guess Brave Axe, we can just steal it from Hector since Hector's not gonna really make use of it.
True.
Although, I guess it's redundant with Brave Bow, but whatever. If we need to, we can swap it around. We gotta give him our mods.
I mean, yeah, we kind of do.
Actually,
we need, yeah.
Actually, what? How does he, I wonder, like... Wait, sorry. 18... Can you equip it, please?
Just give the hand axe. So roundabout.
38.
38's pretty good, you know.
Oh god.
She needs Soul Catty instead of something. We could probably drop Brave Sword and give that back to Guy.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Athos.
Athos. Come on. I mean, it's not. Oh, jeez.
Now you've got to get it back again.
31. She gets weighed down by it. It's so funny.
She also gets that big +5 res though.
How? It's defense. What is this? Okay. He's literally just gonna be rescue dropping and holding elixirs.
He can have Durandal.
Oh, hey.
Actually, 34. That's more than Lyn.
It is kind of important for like Uhai.
That's actually not terrible at all. You can take Durandal.
Like, just so we don't cheat.
Yep.
Okay, who's actually deployed again? Do you have any objections over for Rebecca or?
No, I think we bring her. I think it's fine.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out how we give her the Ryan flesh. I'm just gonna get rid of like the crap, like, because
yeah,
she might just honestly be better with just having elixirs in her hand. Ooh. No, we have Geats and Farina. That's fine. I was just wondering if... Because it's just going to be Geats, or like Heath or Geats doing the dragon kill, so we could just...
Yeah.
Just flop like him in front, and then just Sarah runs in, heals him, and then rescue drop out. Okay,
yeah. Wants the Brave Sword back.
Yeah, we want the Brave Sword back. It's too bad he can't use some ultimate weapons.
Yeah.
I guess we get the Regal Sword later on. I don't know if we need this. It's probably not good.
Would you rather just take an elixir?
Yeah. Like, honestly, Lance Reader's probably not that good either. Like, he's not doing anything to, Brennan.
Yeah.
Or, not Brennan, but you know who it is.
Darren.
Darren.
I don't think she needs a javelin.
Where's that staff of, where's Renault's staff?
There we go. Thimble Vetra?
Yeah, you might as well. I'm just gonna get rid of Elfire.
Yeah, it's fine.
Too bad he can't use. Too bad he can't use 4 Blaze. What if I were to... No. Okay, I do want him to have, like, another staff just on hand.
Yeah, we can just give him, like, a sleep or silence or something.
I don't think sleep's gonna help. I'm just gonna give her an extra recovery just in case who knows. Or even, like, elixir.
Yeah, that's probably
that might be better. Actually. Just...
We don't pure waters, do we? Just thinking for Ursula.
I think you just kill Ursula.
Cool.
Maybe we need pure water for Farina.
I think she should be okay.
Yeah.
She's resi as hell. Okay. So there we go, we've gone over all of our units, and that just leaves us with the final chapter to take on, which will be coming in the next video. Thank you all very much for watching, and thank you again to the people who back the channel on Patreon. Appreciate the support a lot, so thank you very much for that. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye.